I'm the head instructor at the Congressman Danny K. Davis Job Training Program, and I'd like to welcome you to our self-help video. Now, today's topic will be installing RAM. And what RAM is random access memory. Normally, you'd have to install more RAM, or it would be in your benefit to install more RAM if your program started running a lot slower, if your system started to drag once you open more than one application, and generally if you're not satisfied with the production of your computer. So what we'll do today is just identify certain types and sizes of RAM and install it. Now, normally RAM is located on the motherboard in these two slots here. Normally systems, say motherboards, don't have exactly the same types of RAM slots, but they do at least have 2 or more RAM slots available. So maybe in your system you may have 2 or 3 actual slots available to add more RAM. On the motherboard that we're going to be using today, one slot is filled, and we'll be adding another 256 megabyte RAM of slot to help speed the thing up. Now, with RAM, you need to make sure that you do have the exact size and type of. You have to have the right size and speed of RAM that's compatible with your system. If you have the wrong size, or if your motherboard actually has size restrictions, normally you won't be able to use, say, a higher size of a RAM. Same as the speed. If your bus speed isn't up to par with the bus speed of your RAM, then you won't be able to use it within that system. So always make sure that you have the right type of RAM, whether it be DDR2, DDR3, or anything within those lines. Now, normally you find out this information from your manufacturer's manual or website, or maybe even on a sticker located on your chassis. So what we'll do here is we'll try to install this 256 stick of RAM. It's a PC 3200, and we'll install this on this motherboard. Now, normally with motherboards, they're not on the outside of cases. Of course, they're always within the case, and sometimes they are obstructed. So if there are any obstructions in the way, you can always move the things out of the way. Say if it's a CD drive or a power supply, you can always remove those and replace them back. But just to make sure you have enough arm room or enough reaching room, just make sure that you have things out of the way to help install the RAM a lot faster and a lot more efficient. Now, before we actually install this thing, I'm going to ground myself into a metal post or what have you, just to make sure I don't actually discharge any static electricity onto these pieces of RAM. Normally, if you, say, walk around the house or from anywhere, you will accumulate static electricity. So what you want to do is you always want to ground yourself either to a piece of metal that you're working on. If you have an anti-static wristband, you can charge yourself. You can ground yourself to a case or anything that will pretty much take away your static charge. Same thing applies to if you have a anti-static mat, or if you have special anti-static spray, you can always spray the surface of, meaning the table or anything if you're working on a certain computer. So you can always also touch the side of, as long as you have contact with your metal casing, that way it will actually discharge you. So using any of those methods will always keep you from ruining a brand new piece of RAM. But now that I have myself strapped in, I'm going to install this piece of RAM, and the system should perform up to my standards. So right now we actually have this piece of RAM sitting here, and it has a certain number of pins available. These metal contacts down at the bottom, they have the pins. There's a certain number, and normally they have a slot available, so there's only one way you can plug these things in. If you try to plug it in the wrong way, you'd see that it actually wouldn't push down, or it would fall into the slot, meaning it will line up, but if you tried to push it down, it wouldn't. So the only way you'd be able to push this thing down and actually use it is if you install it the right way. So we'll place it down the right way within these two slots that are located on the RAM, and there should be two notches available that can move freely, either opening or closing. And normally you won't have to physically touch these things right here on the sides. They would normally close up once you place the RAM correctly. So if I can, because it seems like I'm having a hard time with this. Now, if you can place the RAM correctly, then all you need to do is either you can push one side down just to make sure you hear the contact sound. When you push it down, it makes a snap. Or you can push both sides down at the same time, and it'll just make the contact all together. And that way, once you actually look at the motherboard, you should see both of the notches have closed, and it should be fixed within it. It shouldn't have any room that where it can wiggle out, or it shouldn't move at all once you, well, it'll move a bit, but it shouldn't move out of place once you actually wiggle these things around. So once this is installed, you can actually start up your system and check your BIOS settings just to make sure that the installed RAM shows up on your system. And if it does, then you'll be able to do anything that you want, and hopefully it'll work to your satisfaction.